In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the rear brakes on this BMW 325Xi. Let's get into it. Remove the wheel, use a 17mm socket. Take the lug bolts out. And before you take the last one out, I just like to hold the wheel on so it doesn't fall. Take that out and grab the wheel and slide it off. Now we're going to take this spring off. I'm just going to use a trim tool. You can use a pair of pliers or a screwdriver. Pop that off. We're going to pop this cap off. I'm just going to use a straight blade screwdriver. You could use a pick as well with a 9mm wrench. I'm just going to crack this free. Just a bleeder. That's good. I don't want any fluid coming out, or even just a little bit's fine, but we're just cracking this free for later. So it's using a 7mm hex socket. We're going to take the two caliper bolts out. There may be covers over there. Take those covers off if your vehicle has those. Slide those out the best you can, just as long as they're disconnected from the bracket. I'm just using a pry bar. I'm just going to pry this out a little bit, and then underneath, try to pry the caliper out. Oops, that just popped off. Pull this brake pad out of here. We'll just take a caliper hook and just hang it from the coil spring. Using a 16mm socket, loosen up these bolts. Slide the bracket off. I'm going to use a 6mm hex socket. Take this screw out. And if the rotor's stuck on, you just want to take a hammer, give it a tap, and slide it off. I'm going to take a wire brush and clean up the hub surface. Clean that down with a little brake parts cleaner, let it dry. I'm going to just spray a little thin coat of copper anti-seize just to prevent corrosion in the future. That's good. Just take the rotors, little brake parts cleaner, wipe it down with a rag on the back side, flip it around, do the same on the front. Wipe it down. I'm going to slide this over, just like that, get that lined up. If you have to adjust the parking brake shoes, there's an adjuster right here. You want to make that so they're just barely touching when you put the rotor on. Take the screw, get that started. And just lightly snug this down, not too tight. I'm going to clean up the bracket. I'm just going to use a wire brush in this area right here, just try to get any of the rust or corrosion off. And do the same on this side. Now I'm going to take the caliper pins, just clean these up. Some brake parts cleaner, wipe them down. If there's any rust or corrosion, you want to wire brush these as well. Try to get any of that off. that all cleaned up, just take some silicone grease and lubricate the pin. Do the same with the other one. And you want to take the 2 caliper slide pins out. Just grab those, pull those out. Take the caliper bracket, slide it over the rotor. Take those 2 bolts, get those started. Tighten those down. Now we're going to torque these bolts to 49 foot-pounds. I'm just going to take a wire brush, just clean those out. Take a little bit of silicone, just lubricate those. Take the pins and get those started. We're going to take the caliper hanger off. We're going to compress the caliper. Before we do that, I'm going to take the 9mm wrench, go over the bleeder screw. I'm just going to put a hose on here. This is optional, you don't necessarily have to put the hose on, but it helps. Open the bleeder. I'm using a caliper compressing tool. Slide it in place where the brake pads go. Now open the bleeder screw with the caliper compressing tool. We're going to compress the caliper nice and slow. All the dirty brake fluid is going to go through the hose. All right, that's completely compressed. Take the tool out. Close up the bleeder. Snug it up the best you can. You can tighten it up later. And take the hose off. Take the brake pad with the clip on it. It's going to go into the caliper piston. Just slide that in place. Other brake pad, slide right there. Get that lined up. And slide that on. Tighten down the pins. And torque these down to 20 foot-pounds. You can put the little covers on if you had the covers. Take the spring, line this up, and just press it in place. Under the hood, you want to top off the fluid. Just take a rag, just wipe off the master cylinder so no dust goes in there, the reservoir. Take the cap off. You can see on the cap where it says what type of fluid to use. And this is .4 for this vehicle. Take the correct fluid and top it off. And put the cap on. And put the wheels on. Get that lined up. Now we're going to torque these bolts to 96 foot-pounds in a cross pattern to tighten the wheel down evenly. Go around again, double check.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.